an example of design of grid floors in which we have uh, we have designed the topping slab. Then we also uh, did the preliminary dimensioning of the ribs, and the size of the rib was 500 uh, depth 500 by this was 100 mm, 500 by 100. You can see this width of the rib is 100 mm. So now let us continue this example. So our next step would be to find the design forces for which we will be using Rankine's-Grashof method. So next step is design forces using Rankine-Grashof method. So in the present case, R, which is the ratio of Ly by Lx, is equal to Ly is 12 meter and Lx is 9 meter. So this ratio is 4 by 3, that is 1.33. So now we'll use the Rankine-Grashof formula we have studied in the theoretical class. So this Q1 is given by Q times R raised to 4 by 1 plus R raised to 4, and Q2 is equals to Q by 1 plus 1 plus R raised to 4. Wait a minute, we have not calculated the load calculation. We have to calculate the load as well. So Q1 is equals to Q times R raised to 4 divided by 1 plus R raised to 4, and Q2 equals to Q by 1 plus R raised to 4. Now here Q is the intensity of the load. So for that we have to calculate the loads. So load calculation. First is the sulfate. So sulfate will be equal to a solid slab of 500 mm depth minus 0.5 by 9 by 12. Okay, 9 by 12 by 0.5, that is the floor area considering solid slab of thickness 0.15, Now this is to be deducted. We have to deduct the hollow portion. This is the hollow portion. It is 420 by 1.4 by 1.4. So 1.4 by 1.4 by 0.42. Okay, 42. And we have 48 numbers of such hollow portions. So multiply by 48. This is the hollow volume of one hollow portion. Multiply by 48 and would multiply by density of concrete. So this will give you the total load in kilonewton. So this will be 9 by 12 by 0.5 minus 1.4 by 1.4 by 0.42 by 48 will multiply by 25. So that will give you a load of 362.16 kilonewton. Okay. Now, since we are designing designing the slabs for per square meter loads, so we have to convert this into per square meter load. So self weight per unit area will be equal to 362.14 divided by the floor area, which is 9 by 12. So that will give you the per square meter load. So it is 3.35 kilonewton per square meter. This is our first load. Second, we have a load from floor finish, so which is equal to 1 kilonewton per square meter. Then we have live load, which is equal to 2 kilonewton per square meter. So the total load will be equal to 6.35 kilonewton per meter square. Therefore, the factored load we call this as Q, which will be used in the formula. Okay. So let us mark this as number 1. So we'll use this formula. Q is equals to 1.5 times 6.35, which will be 9.53 kilonewton per square meter. Okay. So now from 1 we will get Q1 is equals to Q r raised to 4 divided by 1 plus r raised to 4, which is equals to 9.53 into the value of r is 1.33. This is 1.33. Just wait a minute. It is Q is 9.53. Value of R is 1.33 volt to the voltage to power 4 will divided by 1 plus 1.33 raised to the power 4. So this will give you Q1 as 9.53 into 1.33 raised to the power 4 divided by 1 plus 1.33 raised to the power 4. So that is 7.239 Newton per meter. Similarly, and Q2 will be equals to R raised to the power 4 divided by 1 plus R raised to the power 4, which will be equal to 1.33 raised to the power 4 divided by 1 plus 1.33 raised to the power 4. It is Q by 1 plus R raised to the power 4. Let us just verify. Yeah, it is Q by R raised to the power 4. Yeah, it is Q by 3. So this will be 9.53 whole divided 1 plus 1.33 raised to the power 4. Is 2.29 kilonewton per square meter. So we can now find the UDL. This is in per so UDL the ultimate load per meter width per meter length. This is in square meter, so we convert this into per meter length. So let us call this as W1, which will be equal to Ly. For x direction, it is to be multiplied with perpendicular dimension, means transverse dimension, by Q1. So that will be 1.5 by 7.239. See, note that here whatever the load we got, that is in square meter, that is uniformly distributed on the entire floor area. Now our interest is to find the bending moment, so we convert this into a strip loaded with the UDL of W1. This is loaded with of W2. So this W2 will be equal to, if this is Lx and this is Ly, then W1 will be equal to Q1 into Ly, and W2 will be Q2 into Lx, Q2 times Lx. So this is Ly into Q1, so this will be 1.5 into 7.239, it is 10.858, kilonewton per meter, and W2 will be Lx times Q2, which is 1.5 times 2.29, that will be 3.435 kilonewton per meter. So now you can find the design moments. So design moments will be equal to MUX equals to this, it will be W1, see this is Lx, this is Ly, so it will be W1 Lx square by 8, so that will be 10.858 times 1.5 square by 8, 10.585 858 into 1.5 square by 8, that is, oh, this 9. Now we are finding for the entire floor area. So it is this is 9 meter, and this will be 12 meter. For the entire floor area we are finding. So this will be 109.937 kilonewton meter, and it is W2 Ly square by 8. Don't get confused by Lx and Ly, or simply let us write this as what we have mentioned. Okay, Ly by Lx is 12 by 9 only. So here, instead of writing this, let us use L2 and L1 for this panel. So for panel, this is L1 and this is L2. So you multiply this with L2, this multiply with L1. So don't get confused. This is L1, L2, Q1, Q2, and here it will be Lx, and this will be Ly, where Lx and Ly are the total span length. So this will be Lx square and this will be Ly square. 3.435 into 12 square by 8, 435 into L square by 8. It is 61.83 kilonewton meter. Similarly, we find the design shear force, which is VUX equals to W1 LX by 2 is 10.858 into 9 by 2 10.585 into 9 by 2, that will be 48.861 kilonewton meter, and VUY will be equal to W2 Ly by 2, which is 3.435 into 12 by 2, 3.435 into 12 by 2, that is 20.61 kilonewton meter. So now we have the design moments in x and y directions, as well as we have the shear force, design shear force in x and y direction. Now next step is to find the reinforcement required for these design forces. So next step is reinforcement. So, or simply we can say design of section. Design of T-beam, that is our read. So the effective plane width will be effective. See, everything will be same as our example, first example we have done. Only change is this value. The values obtained, this step will be changed. You have to find these design forces using Rankine's Grashof method. So only this is changed, means this entire step, design force using this step is changed, except this load calculation. Even the load calculation is also same. Effective plane width is equal to L0 by 6 plus BW plus 6 times DF. This is given in the clause. (23.1.2) A, page 37, IS 456 2000. So the effective plane width will be where L0 is taken as 0.7 times the L, that is 1500. BW is 100 mm and DF is 80 mm. So therefore B effective, we call this as B effective, equals to 0.7 into 1500 divided by 6 plus 100 plus 6 into 80. That will be 0.7 into 1500 by 6 plus 100 plus 6 into 80. That is 755. So the effective flange width of this section is 755. 755. Now let us assume that the neutral axis lies at the bottom of the flange. Let us assume neutral axis lies at bottom of flange. Therefore, mu dash will be equal to 0.36 FCK. The effective df into t minus 0.42 df. Same formula we have used in previous case. What we are doing, we are assuming that the neutral axis lies at the bottom and we find the moment of resistance. And if the moment of resistance, assuming that the neutral axis at the bottom of the plane is more than the design moment, then that means the neutral axis lies within the planes. And if this moment, assuming that the neutral axis lies at the bottom of plane, is less than the design moment, that means the neutral axis lies inside the plane, or lies in plane, lies in the web. Okay, so we have to find the moment of resistance accordingly. So 0.36 into 20 into 755 into 80 into this D, effective depth is 450 minus 0.42 into 80. So this will give you the moment of resistance as 0.36 into 20 into 755 into 80 into 450 minus 0.42 into 80. So it is 181.084 into 10 to the power 6 Newton mm. So that is 181.084 kilonewton meter. This is your mu dash. Now this value you compare it with the design moment. So the design moment is 109.937. So it is much greater than MUX, greater than MUY. MUX is 109.937 kilonewton meter, and this is also greater than 6 MUY, that is 61.83 kilonewton meter. So this implies that therefore the neutral axis is not lying at the bottom of the plane, it is lying inside the plane, lies inside the plane. And in case if this value is less than this design moments, that means the neutral axis lies in the web. Okay, and we have to find the moment of resistance for uh, for T section with uh, neutral axis lying in web. So in the present case, the neutral axis lies inside the plane because the moment of resistance, assuming that the neutral axis lies at the bottom of plane, is more than the design forces. So, so this implies again, if since the neutral axis lies inside the plane, that means design as a rectangular section, design as rectangular section of rectangular section. Okay, so we can find the moment of resistance, the area of the steel required. So AST in x direction required will be equal to, same formula we'll use, 0.5 by Fy by Fck whole multiplied by 1 minus under root of 1 minus 4.6 mux. For x direction we'll use mux divided by Fck Bd square whole multiplied by Bd. So that will be equal to 0.5 whole divided by 415 divided by 20 multiplied by 1 minus under root of 1 minus 4.6 into mux is 109.937 into 10 to the power 6 divided by 20 into width. Width is 755 multiplied by depth, effective depth, that is 450 square whole multiplied by 755 into 450. So this will be equal to 0.5 divided by 415 divided by 20 whole multiplied by 1 minus square root of 1 minus 4.6 into 109.937 into 10 to the power 6 divided by 20 into 755 into 450 square multiplied by 755 into 450, that is 707 707.6 mm square is the AST X required. And AST Y required equal to 0.5 by Fy by Fck whole multiplied by 1 minus under root of 1 minus 4.6 MUY divided by Fck Bd square multiplied by Bd. So that will be 0.5 divided by 415 divided by 20 whole multiplied by 1 minus square root of 1 minus 4.6 into moment is 60 MUY 61.83 3 into 10 to the power 6 whole divided by 20 into B is 755 into D is 450 square whole multiplied by 755 into 450. So in this case it will be 61.83. So it comes out to be 390 mm square. This is your ASTY required. So let us provide 4 bars of 16 mm diameter along x direction. Okay. So that will give ASTX provided equal to 4 into 201. 201 is the area of 116 mm bar diameter. That will be 804 mm square. This value is more than the required value of 707, so it is okay. So it is more than 707.6 mm square. Therefore, it is okay. Similarly, provide 2 bars of 16 mm diameter along y direction. So ASTY provided will be equal to 2 into 201, that is 402 mm square, which is again greater than 390 mm square. So it is okay. So with this, the design for flexure is over for the rib beam. Now we carry out the design for shear. So next is shear design. Simply design for shear. So we have VUX equals to 48.861 kilometer, and VUY we will use design shear force since it will next is VUY is 20.61 kilometer. We'll provide this shear reinforcement required for this much in both the directions, because this will not be the governing requirement of shear reinforcement. So let us calculate for this. So let us say VU is equals to 48.861 kilometer. In case if these values were much higher and the difference was too much, then we should design shear force separately in both the directions. But here the values are also less, as well as the difference is not that huge, so we'll take only higher value for design of shear reinforcement. So tau v will be equal to Vu upon Bd, so that is 48861 divided by 7. Now width of the web is 100 times, because shear will be registered by the web rib, so width of the web should be taken. It should be Bw times D times 450, 48 multiplied by 10 to the power 3 to convert it into Newton per m square. 48.861 into 10 to the power 3 divided by 100 into 450, that is 1.0858 Newton per mm square. So now we find PT, percentage of steel. So percentage of steel provided is, we have provided 4 numbers of bars in x direction, that is 804 divided by B into D, that is again VW into D into 100, that will give you the percentage of the steel in weld multiplied by 100 into 450. So this comes out to be 804 1.787 1.787%. Okay, so now from table 19, table 19, page 10, page 73. This table 19, page 73. IS 456 2000, the value of tau c will be equal to, so this is 1.787 percentage, and the grade of concrete is M20 1.787, that means almost around 1. This will be 0.7, in between 0.75 and 0.79. So it will be around 0.75 Newton per mm square. Okay, whereas tau v is 1.085. So this value is less than tau v, equals to 1.0858 Newton per mm square. Okay. Also you have to find tau c max, which is equal to, for ambient antigravity it is 2.8, tau c max is 2.8 Newton per mm square. Now tau c max is greater than tau v, that means no need to revise the section. This implies no need to revise section. Revise section, and this implies shear reinforcement should be provided, is required. Shear reinforcement is required. So let us find the shear resisted by the stirrups. So shear resisted by stirrups, that is VUS, which will be equal to VU minus uh, or VU minus tau c into V into D. Okay, this is the shear resisted by concrete. Shear resisted by concrete. This is total shear or total shear, and this is the shear resisted by the stirrup. So the value of shear is 48.861 minus into 10 to the power 3 minus tau c is 0.75 into B is 100 and D is 450. So you will get VUS equals to 48.861 into 10 to the power 3 minus 0.75 into 100 into 450. It is 15,111 Newton, which is equal to 15.111 kilonewton. So this much shear is to be resisted by the stirrups. So let us provide the find this shear spacing. So using two-legged by 8 mm stirrups, we can have SV required will be equal to 0.87 into Fy 0.87 Fy ASV D divided by VUS. So that will be 0.87 Fy is 415, ASV is 2 into pi by 4. Since it is two-legged, it is pi by 4 in its square multiplied by D. D is 450. DUS is 15.111 into 10 to the power 3. So you will get the spacing required as 1080 mm. So this is the spacing required as per the design shear force. Next, we also have to check this with the minimum shear. So minimum shear requirement, minimum shear reinforcement. So minimum shear reinforcement states that ASV upon BS B times SV should be greater than or equal to 0.4 times 4 by 0.87 Fy. Okay. So this implies SV should be less than or equal to 0.87 Fy ASV divided by 0.4b. So this value is 0.87 into 415 into ASV is 2 into 5 by 4 into 8 square more divided by 0.4 into 100. So this value will be equal to 0.87 into 415 into 2 into 4 into 8 square more divided by 4. It is 907. So minimum shear reinforcement spacing required will be 907 mm. Okay. Again, we also have to check the minimum spacing of S minimum, which is equal to minimum of 0.75 D or 300 mm. So in our case, it is minimum of 0.75 into 450 and 300 mm. So 0.75 into 450, that is 337. So it is minimum of 337.5 or 300 mm. So this is governing. So your S minimum is 300 mm. So now your spacing of the shear reinforcement should be least of all the three. So it is this. So therefore this is the least one. So provide two-legged by 8 mm stirrups at the rate 300 mm center to center in for all beams. This is throughout for all beams, both x and y direction, both x and y direction. Okay, so this is the complete design of the rib beam. Now next step is to is detailing. So, You have been asked to draw the reinforcement in the short direction. Okay, so this is the details along short direction. Details of reinforcement in short direction, that means in x direction. So along x direction, the reinforcement will be provided at the top in x direction, and this is the stirrup. In short direction, we are providing 4 bars. So these are 4 numbers of 16 mm. In slab, we are providing both the steels as same only. So this is 6 mm at the 280 center to center. Let us check it with the calculation. It is 6 mm die at 280 center to center in both directions. And these are the 2 hanger bars. Of 12 mm diameter. Two numbers by 12 mm hanger bar. And this is the two-legged by 8 mm at the 300 mm center to center stirrups. Okay, so this is the detail in short direction. Same way you can also draw the details along long direction, in which these reinforcement will be this will be reversed. This will be shown. These bars which are shown by dotted, they will be shown full, and the one which are going through shown full, they will be shown as dot below the full line. Okay, so with this, your design for grid floor is over, and this unit of design of grid floor is also complete with this example. And from the next class, we'll take another topic. So if you have any doubt in this, we can discuss now.